If you want to move characters in videos without writing prompts, motion control is a pretty powerful tool to have in your toolkit. Now that Kling 3.0 has fully rolled out, the feature comes with a couple of improvements that make it even more interesting to use. Some of you might remember that I already covered motion control in an earlier tutorial, so this one will be a bit shorter, but still pretty fun. The main question today is simple. What actually got better and what is different now? In the background you can see a few examples that are honestly quite impressive and sometimes even a little funny. The source material is shown on the left. At the bottom you see the motion reference. Above that is the image reference, and on the right side you see the element. On their website, Kling describes the feature with some pretty bold words. They call it professional motion capture reimagined. According to Kling, the system keeps the character's face highly consistent during the entire generation process and is able to capture different angles, complex emotions, and even faces that are partially covered or blocked. This time I want to look at the feature a bit more critically. No doubt you can get some really great results with it, but quite often things also fall apart, and then it quickly turns into that classic, how exactly is this supposed to work moment? Despite all the bold marketing claims, building your own setups is still pretty challenging. Once you get stuck in that loop, a project that started with a lot of motivation can very quickly turn into a serious credit-burning machine. Let me start with the good part. Kling Motion Control seems to handle a surprisingly wide range of styles almost effortlessly. If you tick the right boxes and avoid overcomplicating things with unnecessary prompts, the results, with clip lengths anywhere between 3 and 30 seconds, can look very consistent and honestly pretty impressive. Clay-style characters in particular are a lot of fun to work with. That's where the system often shines. But animated styles and photorealistic images can also come out really well. If you want the faces to stay consistent, elements can definitely help. But that leads directly to the next point. Elements, basically object templates, in our case characters, are not a guarantee that everything besides the face will stay consistent. And there is another limitation right now. The option bind facial element to enhance consistency only works when you choose orientation matches video. If you want to use orientation matches image instead, your motion reference clip cannot be longer than 10 seconds. A lot of testing also shows that the proportions and framing between motion reference and image reference should be as similar as possible. If they are not, things can get weird pretty quickly. Characters get cropped, the camera starts doing strange moves, or the background begins to morph in unexpected ways. You can influence the whole setup with prompts if you want. Even timestamp prompting is possible. But be careful how much you ask from the AI. Sometimes less is more. And sometimes the background animation ends up staying static or behaving randomly. According to Kling, orientation matches video handles complex character movement better. Orientation matches image, on the other hand, tends to follow the intended camera direction from the image more closely. And finally, there is the waiting time. Generating something like a 10-second clip can take up to 10 minutes, so you definitely need a bit of patience here. But overall, it is still a very useful addition to the video AI toolbox. Let me quickly walk through the difference between character orientation matches video and character orientation matches image. If we look at this source image, two things immediately stand out: the style and the position of the character. Interestingly, Kling can carry over the style quite well in both modes. However, when you use orientation matches video, the result often looks noticeably smoother. What happens here is that Kling basically rebuilds the character based on the motion reference. And when that happens, the original raw drawing style starts to disappear a bit. When you switch to orientation matches image, the rough hand-drawn look stays much more intact. In this example, the bear and the pirate simply look better and more authentic. But this is not always the case. Sometimes the opposite happens, so you really have to test it from case to case. And honestly, that trial and error is one of the bigger challenges when working with motion control. The difference becomes even clearer in this next example. In the motion reference, the character runs to the right. In the image reference, the character is facing forward. If we use orientation matches video, the character runs to the right, exactly like in the motion video. If we use orientation matches image instead, the character runs forward toward the camera, just like in the image. And one more thing, You are not limited to animating just one character. You can animate multiple characters at once. But based on my tests, they all follow the same motion pattern. Alright, let me quickly walk you through how to actually use the motion control feature. If you want to get the most out of it, it's worth spending a little time up front setting up the elements properly. Once that part is done, things become a lot easier later on. So what do we need first? Step 1 is the characters. Just pick any image AI platform you like and define your base scenario. I already prepared a few examples here and generated them with Midjourney, but you could just as well use Nano Banana Pro, Nano Banana 2, Seedream 5.0 Lite, Kling Image 3.0 Omni, or basically any other image AI tool that lets you create an image. Step 2 is the different views. For elements to work properly, Kling needs several perspectives of the same character or object. One option is to use the well-known X panel grid method. Another way, like I'm doing here with Google Flow, is to generate each view individually with its own prompt. The nice thing about this approach is that the images usually come out in higher resolution right away. That being said, this step is not absolutely required. You can skip it if you want, and I'll explain why in just a moment. Step 3 is the elements. These basically act as visual guidelines, so the AI understands what the character's face is supposed to look like. First, upload your images to the Assets section. Then go to Omni, click Create Element, choose Add Image from History, and pick a representative image of the person. It's usually a good idea to define as many angles as possible. You can upload up to 3 additional views that you created in Step 2, or you can simply use AI multi-shot and let the system generate the missing perspectives for you. After that, give the character a name and a short description and click Generate. If you prefer to use a video instead, just select Add Video at the beginning, rather than Add Image. In the end, you'll end up with your own small element library. And the nice part is that every character can later be adjusted through Edit Element if you want to change something. Step 4 is the motion reference. Go to the left navigation, click Generate, and then select Motion Control at the top. First, make sure you have the latest video AI model selected. Right below that, on the left side, you'll see the motion reference field. This is where you upload the video that contains the movement you want to transfer. You can do this via drag and drop from your history or directly from the Kling Motion library. Step 5 is the image reference. Right next to it, you give Kling the image where the motion from the video should be applied. The important thing here is that the image must contain a person. You could technically try using a house, a car, or something like that, but Kling will usually reject those images as unusable. Also make sure, as mentioned earlier, that the proportions of both references match as closely as possible. If your motion reference shows a full body character, then your image reference should also show a full body character. Step 6 is character orientation. I already explained the difference earlier. Just pick the option that fits your intention best. If you are unsure, run a short test clip and then try the same setup again with the other orientation. Step 7 is adding the elements. Once the image reference is set, this field will appear automatically. Right now, this option only works when orientation matches video is selected. Click the icon on the right and choose the matching element, basically the avatar you want to use. If your image shows a cowboy, then you should also select the cowboy element. Step 8 is the prompt. This one is optional, but it can sometimes be useful if you want to control background motion or small scene details. Just be careful not to overload the AI with too much instruction. Sometimes that makes things worse instead of better. Finally, choose the resolution and the number of outputs at the bottom left. Then hit the green Generate button on the right and the video creation starts. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much for listening. See you soon. Your channel, AI Now You Know.